We need to take a quick break from the Volvo so I can show you the new tool I got for the shop. I assume you already saw the thumbnail, so you probably know it's a CNC plasma table. I've been wanting to get better at basic CAD and make decent looking brackets for a while now, so this was a pretty obvious move. Making 2D stuff by hand is definitely possible, but to me, a nicely designed and cut 2D part elevates a project quite a bit. The plasma cutter itself is nothing special, just a 65 amp inverter plasma with a blowback start function, so it should work with the CNC controller. From what I understand, some plasma cutters have a high frequency start, and that can interfere with some of the controls in the electronics of the CNC. The table is a Langmuir Crossfire. The Crossfire seems to be a pretty decent hobby level table. At its base level, it lacks a few features that I think you should pay extra for. For instance, I paid extra for the Z-axis motor assembly, the torch height controller, and the water table. Putting the actual table together is really simple. Langmuir has decent instructions on their website, so it's kind of like a Lego set, but for a 41-year-old who's desperately trying to make up for time he lost not pursuing his hobbies earlier in life. Also, this video is not sponsored by Langmuir or anyone else. If I could have figured out how to leverage my 20,000 or so subscribers to get a free CNC plasma, I absolutely would have. But I don't think that's how YouTube works. At least not for me. On that topic though, we did just hit 20,000 subscribers, and that feels truly insane. I've never really had goals for the channel per se, but 20k seems like some sort of milestone. Thanks for that. I opted for the water table because plasma cutters make a bunch of smoke without water. It'll probably make the table more of a hassle to move around, and I do have a feeling these self-tapping screws will leak at some point, but I think it'll be worth it to not have the shop filled with smoke every time I use it, plus it'll keep the workpiece cool during cutting. The first square tube is the y-axis, and it's pretty much what you'd expect. A beam that's supported on both ends with a carriage that runs along that beam. The carriage is attached to the x-axis beam, which is cantilevered. This seems like it wouldn't be rigid enough, but I guess all it has to do is support the weight of the x-axis carriage and the z-axis assembly plus the torch. The cutting itself doesn't really require any extra rigidity in the way a mill or a lathe does. All three axes on the machine are driven by stepper motors and lead screws. The screws are supported by a bearing at one end, and the motor is on the other end. In the middle of the lead screw is the lead screw nut, which is attached to the axis carriage. The motor spins the lead screw, which moves the lead screw nut and the carriage. It's actually all surprisingly simple. So this is the way the Crossfire ships normally. No Z-axis motor and no way to control the height of the cutting torch. I'm sure lots of people are using plasma tables with no Z-axis and doing just fine, but it seems like a worthwhile upgrade. They do make you pay like an extra $550 for it though. The physical edition of the assembly is super basic, but the electronic side is a bit more fussy. First we have to put the Z motor driver into the control box. Then the torch height control chip plugs into the main PCB. Then we connect it to the power distribution and plug everything else in. I guess it's actually not that fussy, but there's a lot of loose wires in here, and at first glance it looks like a mess. Oh right, I almost forgot to mention that I made a little shelf for this thing too. It's crazy to me that most entry-level CNC tables ship without a shelf to put the plasma cutter on. I get that it's a cost thing, but come on guys, this is ridiculous. So I just threw together a very rough angle iron and plywood shelf. Here's some of that process if you're interested. Alright, back to the control box thing. Now that all the Z-axis and torch height controller stuff is in there, we just have to bolt it back on, plug all the wires in, and then we can see if any of this works. Nice. So the plasma cutter itself is a Best Arc BTC 650 XP. It was on sale and I couldn't see why it was any different than the dozen other inexpensive Chinese-made options. I've never had a plasma cutter before, but this one seems like it should work fine. It does have CNC control and arc voltage ports in the back, which is nice because otherwise we'd have to open up the box and tap into the wires that fire the torch. I spliced the arc voltage connector to the raw voltage wires that Langmuir provided with the torch height control box. This will allow the controller to change the Z-axis position based on arc voltage to keep a consistent cutting height. The other connector is so the controller can tell the torch when to turn on and off. One end is the Best Arc plug and the other is the crossfire plug that goes to the controller. Now we can bolt the torch into the holder on the Z-axis and I guess try to cut some stuff. Oh yeah, first I ran this break-in program on the Crossfire software that just moved the torch from one corner to another for like 5 or 6 minutes. I'm not sure why it needed to do that, but it seems to have worked, because we were able to cut some metal. This is pretty exciting to me. I cut out a bunch of test squares in 16 gauge and 1/8 inch steel, and even an 1/8 inch aluminum one just to try to dial in the settings a bit. It seems like cutting things is pretty simple, but cutting them well with minimal dross will probably take some trial and error. But I don't really want to do that right now, and I want to make something useful, so let's cut out a bracket to mount the new ECU under the dash in the Volvo. Not bad. The back of the piece definitely has more dross than I think it should, but it breaks off pretty easily. I hear people often cut 16 gauge steel with basically no dross, so I'll try to get the amperage and cutting speed dialed in at some point. This works for now though. Originally, I figured I'd just cut this bracket out, then tack some steel spacers onto the back of it, since it can't just sit flat against the firewall. This seemed like the easiest thing to do. Then I remembered that Fusion is a 3D program. Bending the flanges like this means I won't need extra parts, and it's functionally the same as the original design. Plus it gives me some extra practice. In Fusion we can just unfold these bends to create a flat template for cutting, which is pretty sweet. I also figured out that if I put these small semicircular cuts where the bends go, I don't have to mess around with measuring things to find the bend line. And in case anyone knows anything about plasma cutting, this cut is at 35 amps, 70 psi, and 200 inches per minute. It seems to work okay, but like I said, the dross is a little bit worse than I'd like, so let me know if those numbers seem weird to you. The chart that came with the plasma cutter is absolutely useless. Isn't this just the cutest little finger brake? It works really well for stuff like this. I have a press brake for my 20-ton press, but it's way too big for this little bracket. Eventually I'd like a real sheet metal brake though. Seems like a pretty good complement to the plasma table. Alright, I know it's not much, but I'm telling you, it's way cleaner than it would have been if I had made it by hand. We'll just pop some riv nuts in there and bolt the ECU to it. And here it is in the car. Speaking of the car, some parts showed up. In the next video, we'll bolt the ZF8HP45 to the engine and figure out how much cutting is needed to fit it all in the car. Then the real progress can start. Anyway, thanks for watching.